Hello, everyone. This is Salman Khan again. I'm very pleased to be here today and bring you a very special guest uh, exclusively to this platform, Sikandar Raza. Many of you know Sikandar from the international cricket platform. People that follow cricket know who Sikandar is. Sikandar is an international cricketer who represents Zimbabwe right now. He's played over 120, 130 games for Zimbabwe, scored over close to 4,000 runs, international runs, as well as he's picked close to 80, 85 wickets. So I'm very pleased that he's given us some time to speak with us today. Due to the fact that it is the fasting month of Ramadan, Sikandar has been able to give us graciously half an hour of his time. I'll be bringing him on. And try to ask as many questions as I possibly can in half an hour. You guys are more than welcome, like always, to put in comments, put in your questions in the comments, and make sure you share this video with anyone that would like to watch that. It will be available, as always, on the Facebook page for you to view later. So those that can't make it to the time now can always view later. We've had some very good success with that. Having said that, I will not waste any further time, and I'll be bringing Sikandar on. Hello, Sikandar. Welcome. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, I can.
So thank you again for giving me half an hour today. I know it's a tough kind of sandwich between the fast and then the prayer, but pretty glad to be sitting here with you.
Thank you very much, Samami. It's okay.
My apologies, guys. I lost connection for a very brief second. I'll bring Sikandar on right away. This is the unfortunate reality of using Facebook Live. At times it works, at times it doesn't. But having said that, I will bring Sikandar on. Okay, I've just messaged him. He should be on anytime soon. Sorry about that. Welcome back.
Yes.
So I was commenting on your internet connection. I had the same problem. So Canada is not perfect at all. So without wasting any time together, thank you again for coming on. And I want to dive right into the question because I know you have a commitment right after. So Zimbabwe cricket, I've always followed them. They've always been an incredible team, despite all the limited resources. They've always been able to compete. They beat Australia in a T20. They've beaten quite a few big teams. You missing out on the World Cup. How does that feel? I know you've talked about it before, but how does it feel in Zimbabwe now?
Like yes, it is somewhat we feel that we had the opportunity and we were just couldn't knock down the gate open for us. We've all moved on and we've got new challenges coming at the end of this year, so we're looking forward to that.
So, what's the future then? The World Cup is going on. Will be going on in a month or so. Zimbabwe is not going to be there. What's happening in Zimbabwe now, cricket-wise?
Look, our camp is starting on the 20th. We travel on the 15th to Holland, and then followed by Ireland. Followed by, we have a small window where hopefully the Global Canada T20 will be available for Zimbabwean players if they find themselves a team. Then we go to Bangladesh for a tri-series, and then we World Cup T20 qualifiers in Dubai.
So when does that happen?
World Cup T20 qualifiers, I think they are in October, and they finish on the 7th or 11th of November, somewhere there.
The World Cup qualifiers. You're saying that happens again. That start again in the end of the year, towards the end of the year.
Mama, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Absolutely. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
So the World Cup qualifiers start towards the end of the year, but in between, you're saying there's the Holland series, there's the Ireland series that's happening. There are high hopes of Global T20. You featured in Global T20 last year. How was your experience of playing in Canada? Was your first time?
Oh, it was my first time visiting Canada. It was my first time playing the Global as well. I said that to friends as well. That Global I found to be more. I had the best time so far in all the leagues I've been to. At that point, I had the best time in Global Canada.
Wow, what made it so special?
I think we had a lot of friends. I think the beauty about Canada, Global Canada, was there were pretty much representation from all the countries from all around the world. I've been blessed in a way that I have friends pretty much everywhere around the world as well. So having that company, I guess, off the park made my tournament go really well.
So a lot of things we see are, at the front. You're playing on the field and things like that. How did you find the hospitality, general hospitality, Canadian, when you were not playing?
And it was definitely brilliant. I saw people going out of their way to make me comfortable. So I think that speaks volume about the people in Canada and the culture you guys have in Canada.
Oh, it's a very polite culture in a lot of ways.
Very, very.
Having said that, obviously you're looking forward to this edition of Global T20, which is in July of this year.
Yeah.
If the opportunity comes, would you like to stick to Montreal, or do you want to try something different? Loaded question.
No, if the opportunity comes, I like to stick with Montreal Tigers. I'm a huge believer of having that faith. If a team shows faith, I think the player can it can help a player to perform even better, because you see that faith from a team, you see that faith from the management. It makes you kind of like if the Montreal is kind enough and they see me as part of their plans, I like to stay with Montreal. But if not, then hopefully one of the other teams, one of the other 5 teams will be there for to pick me.
Having said that, when coming back Toronto, how did you find the overall structure, like the infrastructure, like the grounds, the pitch? Did you find you played so many leagues around the world? Like how could you compare the cricket infrastructure here?
To be honest, we only played at one cricket ground, so it is very difficult to judge what sort of infrastructure you guys have. The boys were telling us that none of the stands were there, so of course people who ran that tournament did a great job in bringing all the stands for the crowd and things like that. So look, as the tournament will go on, you'll see the structure will get better. The management will be a lot more hands-on and try and get the things done right. Way ahead of the tournament as well, and they'll keep coming up with different ideas how they can what they can do to get the tournament a lot better. Look, the first year is always challenging to any league.
Oh, absolutely.
So look, I just had a good time. I didn't really care. I was there. I had a good time. I played all the games, did well, so that was good. Saw all my
I think
mates. Went to Canada for the first time, so all these things adds up.
so. Weather played a good part because I think it was pretty good throughout the whole series.
Oh, weather was brilliant. Weather was
Yeah.
fantastic.
How did
Yeah.
you find it different from Zimbabwe? In that,
Look, Zimbabwe is also very blessed with good weather,
yeah,
so it wasn't much different, to be honest. The good thing about Canada was there was that breeze that blows throughout the summer as well, so that helps Zimbabwe because we are landlocked. So breeze can be sometimes tricky, but Canada, the breeze helped through some of the days when we played when it was really too hot.
it's unfortunate. The fortunate part is, summer is we get 4 months of summer to play, and 8 months
Yeah.
is, we're loaded with snow. So we look forward to those
Oh,
4 months
nice.
whenever they arrive. PSL, you were just part of it. PSL as well, Pakistan Super
Yeah.
League, and I think you've
Yeah.
seen the league grow. What are your thoughts about that?
Look, I think that's a good example. You guys can see that the league started 4 years ago, all in Dubai, and how the league has started to grow. This year they were game in Abu Dhabi, and first year was just Dubai and Sharjah, and now 8 of the games were moved to Pakistan as well. So I guess if Global Canada, um, in regards to PSL and Global Canada, comparison could be, in my opinion, the Global Canada would also grow into different parts of Canada as well, and you'll see in a few years' time it'll be another successful league going around the world.
And I think one of the things, again, our pitches, like I said, are covered under snow for 8 months. Our fields are, for most parts of it. So sometimes it's so hard to maintain those grounds. But I think overall, a great job was done by the global T20 team. I agree with that. So you got an experience to go back to Pakistan, reconnect with the roots. I remember, you went into the PF Academy as well. I guess I followed that story. How was that? Somewhere you wanted to be back in your life. How did that feel?
Um, like I think it will always remain a very being a fighter pilot, and I guess some of the characteristics picked up and have stayed with me throughout my cricketing career as well. So going back, it was quite emotional, but it was also quite a humbling experience, which I enjoyed completely, to be honest.
So you mentioned a great point, being a fighter pilot or wanted to be a fighter pilot, and that experience has stayed with you. So how do you, Sikandar Raza, as a player, what's in your mind when you get out in the field? You're playing for so many teams. Sometimes the loyalty isn't there. When you go playing for new teams, you don't know the guys. You're still gelling together as a team. So what kind of experience have you had to get into the mode? What do you focus on?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Salman. There's any problem with the loyalty. Once a
Yeah.
team basically picks you up from the auction or the draft, I think the bond starts to form there, because there's a lot of things that goes behind the scenes. You will see that when I was bought for Montreal Tigers, the first person to message me was our head coach, Tom Moody. Tom Moody was the first man to message. So we stayed in touch with Tom. Then I looked at the squad, and because there were so many international stars, and so we've kind of played each other, whether it's international or some of the other leagues. So gelling with the boys have never been that difficult. But then again, the professionalism comes with few challenges as well, and I guess those are the challenges that every professional has to take on and try and do as well a job as he can. I was all the Canadians in my team. I knew a couple of them already, so it wasn't too difficult, and it never has been so far for all the leagues I've been to.
So how hard or difficult is it becoming Sikandar for professional players like yourself? You play in so many leagues, you get to play against and with the guys. So your skills are sometimes overexposed at times, right? And people, players get to know each other a lot more than they did. So how do you take that back to international cricket? Does it become more competitive international cricket when you play against these guys?
Oh, definitely, because when you wake up, it's another opportunity for you to get better as a human being and as a cricketer as well. And if you think your cricketing skills have been exposed, and you think the opposition may know your weakness or your strength, you wake up and you try and develop. You are trying to work on your weaknesses, and you try and turn your weaknesses into your strength as well, so that you can stay a step ahead of the opposition. And that's what I try and do every time I go training.
Yeah. So, international cricket, Zimbabwe, playing Test cricket versus T20 versus ODP. What's your favorite format?
Test cricket.
Test cricket. Why is that?
Look, I found that my personal growth as a cricketer was mainly due to Test cricket. I'm a huge believer of a Test cricketer could easily turn into a T20 cricketer, but I don't think so. It will be that easy of a job for a T20 cricketer to become a successful Test cricketer. Test cricket teaches you basics, and they help you to basically improve and strengthen your basic, which can help you to play any format of the game.
True. So red ball, white ball, it's become a normal thing now. Before it used to be an adjustment. Which one do you prefer?
Because I said Test cricket, so I would say red ball, but that's for the growth of the game, and that's for my improvement and to make sure that my skills are getting better every day. But I enjoy the white ball.
So have you seen, because of
Not to contradict myself, but I enjoy white ball.
Oh, so with the advent of T20, have you seen Test cricket change? A lot more results are happening nowadays. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, I think that's definitely happened. You get to see a lot more. I think you get to see a lot more entertainment in Test cricket as well, which is great for Test cricket itself. A lot more results are coming through Test cricket as well, so that's also great. So yeah, I have seen a lot of changes. All in my opinion, all for the good of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So in Zimbabwe cricket setup, Test cricket still regarded pretty high. So what's the domestic structure like? Is it more ODP, like over one days, or T20s, or first class?
Look, we have 2 rounds of ODI, 2 rounds of T20, and 2 rounds of first class games as well, which is our 4-day. So we basically play 6 first class games, 6 list day, and 6 T20s, and then of course there's a final for the list day and for the T20. So basically our season has got 20 odd total number of games. Hopefully Zimbabwe is trying hard to have their own T20 setup as well. So hopefully when that happens, our T20 games will be more.
And it's a different mindset as well, right? Players get into when they move between different leagues, and that's the experience that they look for. So coming back to the T20 leagues around the world and impact. So you travel, well, you're well traveled. What's the first thing you do when you go to a new country to play?
I'm trying to adjust quickly to the time zone and to the weather and things like that. But the first thing I do, I'll probably have a long lie-in, to be honest, or I'll have a long time where I'll just stay awake and I'll try and get adjust to the time zone. So if I haven't slept for 14 odd hours and there's still about 8 hours sunshine left in Canada, so I'll push myself to stay awake for another 8 hours, only go to sleep when it's dark in Canada. So things like that, so that I can so my body can adjust quickly to the time.
So coming back to your Canadian experience, you played for Montreal Tigers. You had quite a few international stars on your team. Next year, we're hoping to move it to a different location. That's what I've heard so far from Cricket Canada president. That was on the interview last week as well. But having said that, you coming back, any suggestions for Canadian infrastructure? Like how do you see things happening in Zimbabwe that we can gain from? Is it that we need to move towards a first class structure or more one days? What do you think?
Look, there has to be a progression, but it has to start, I guess. The unfortunate part is you guys do not have any cricket for 12 in a year. But I think if Canada somehow can find the funding to travel overseas, I always found that traveling overseas helped my game and with experience, and it's always tough in different conditions. If you can do well in those overseas tours, I think it gives you a good chance to come back to your home conditions and do really well. So if Canada can basically play a lot more consistent cricket, I think it will go a long way for the development of the game, for the development of the boys as well. And I think that's, in my opinion, would help Canada cricket to grow.
So, being a professional cricketer, that's obviously, you're in some ways bread and butter. You live by that. A lot of Canadian players, unfortunately, they work. They're amateurs. They work, and then they have to kind of juggle two things at the same time. Your suggestion for them, how can they get into the game mode quickly? Because I've seen Canada start well and really badly in tournaments, and then get better.
Well, Zimbabwe used to be like that as well, and that's due to lack of international cricket. To be honest, you don't flick your fingers and suddenly you start performing in international cricket. By the way, I followed Canada into those tournaments that they go to, and the last tournament in Namibia, I was following Canada as well. For two reasons. One, for obvious reason that I've got a lot of my friends in Canada, and two, because I went to Global T20 Canada, so I felt
Connected to
I found a connection with Canada, so
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
following them. So some of the games that you guys didn't get across the line was only, in my opinion, due to lack of cricket that you guys played.
Absolutely.
Because there were few standout performances here and there, but the pieces weren't coming together, and that can only happen once you start playing consistent cricket, and the rules are very clear to the boys.
Yeah, I think, you know what, Sikandar, if this tournament would have happened in September, Canada would have been a different force altogether. Problem is, your season ends in September here, and then you don't play any cricket competitive,
Yeah.
and you go to a national tournament. So that break really ungels you as a team. You have played with some of the guys on the Canadian team, have you?
I have played against them, yes.
Against them?
Also, Canada came to Zimbabwe for a three list day series. So I managed to get, and then they came before that. As Canada been to Zimbabwe twice. So yes, I've made few friends in Canada team, and coming to Canada last year was also an opportunity to make new friends, which I did. So yeah, I've got a lot of friends in Canada now.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to PSL. You played some games in the UAE, and then you played some games in Pakistan. Your experience, crowd-wise.
Look, I don't mean to be sounding too harsh to the people who came to watch us in UAE, because we are very humble about that. But Pakistan was just a different. Pakistan was just a total different buzz.
Packed crowds.
Packed crowds. All games were sold out. 34,000 people for every game. It was just a different buzz. I think it's something that not just me, any overseas player will struggle to put that in. It's just a total buzz.
Completely different experience altogether.
Completely different experience, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think Global T20 can learn from some of these leagues? Just, they've done a lot of great things, but it was just the first year. You with your experience of traveling in the different leagues and playing, what do you think Global T20 can do next? What do you think?
I think it'll be very harsh to say that Global T20 didn't do this or didn't do that, because a lot depends on the TV rights and the TV slot that you guys can find. I'm pretty sure if you speak to the management, they'll say we would love to just host all the games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and maybe one or Tuesday or Wednesday, something so that we can pull a lot of crowd. But unfortunately, with so many cricket and so many different sports happening, unfortunately, the Global T20 or other leagues might not find a slot to be aired on TV. So these things, there are a lot of things that goes behind the scene. But look, yes, if hopefully the Global T20, because it was successful first year, hopefully the second year will bring more crowd. And I'm pretty certain it's a matter of time. The Global T20 Canada move from Toronto and add a few other cities to their list of cities that they're going to play a few games as well, which will help the game to grow as well in Canada.
And I love what you're saying, because there's a major cricket craze across the nation. Like, there's a lot of players out there, close to 12,000-15,000, that very actively play. And there are tons of leagues. So there are some beautiful grounds out there in Canada that we could probably highlight using the Global T20. Coming back, Global T20, hopefully we'll get to see you again. And, again, you're fairly open to whichever teams are out there. How do you see other Zimbabwe players? Because I've seen you feature in pretty much every league. I've seen Brendan Taylor feature in PSL. I don't see others. Why is that?
Look, I think it's unfortunate, in my opinion. I feel sad. I feel bad. I feel hurt for my teammates as well, because all these T20 leagues have given us more confidence and also given us more experience and exposure, and has helped us massively in improving our games and our rankings. So, in my opinion, I think it's just a matter of time. You'll see more Zimbabweans, but I just wish and pray that a lot other leagues that are happening all around the world can actually as well, that how well they do and how well they're doing most of the time as well, and that could open doors for them as well. And it'll be great to have some of the Zimbabweans over as well. There's some fantastic cricketers in the country.
There's a lot of talent.
There's
like, I've always been a fan of Zimbabwean fast bowlers, and I would love to see them feature.
Look, I think Kyle, the year that Kyle Jarvis had, I think he can't be too far away from those leagues. So I'm pretty sure he's there and thereabout. I think Tendai Chimara has also done really well, and he has done really well for over a long period of time. So for these two seamers, I'm pretty sure the opportunities are not too far away. It was unfortunate to lose Blessing
Yeah.
Muzrabani to the counties, but it's a decision that he took, which I personally support, and I wish him really well, and hopefully he'll be successful, and hopefully he'll come back to international cricket. But I don't feel Kyle cannot be too far off from these leagues, as he's had a fantastic year.
So Sikandar, you know, one thing I always loved about Zimbabwe cricket team is every time they're on the field, they play very aggressive cricket. So why is that? Like throughout the years, you know, even when they're underdogs, they will always try to punch above their weight. So is it just the way your cricket's structured back home, or like what builds that?
No, it is one of those things as well. But I think the credit has to go to the era that was before me. The Flowers, the
Yeah.
Shriki, the Strangs.
Great player.
You know, the Irvin, Sean Irvin, Andy Blignott, Henry Long.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was a culture that they started and kind of, you know, has kind of filtered on to us. And what we're trying to do is make sure that we play a brand of cricket that is different, that is exciting. And having said that, once we can master our own brand of cricket, the results will look after itself.
So do you find that sometimes the pressure of those big names behind you, like, does it affect anything in the current team setup? Do you guys talk about those names at times?
Look, yes, I think, but it doesn't add pressure. I think what it does attach is a legacy that those guys have left in. I'm a huge believer of leaving my own legacy behind as well. Hopefully, I can make a difference, make a change, and have my own legacy when I'm finished playing cricket.
So you have a core group of players now that the team revolves around.
Yeah.
You know, and is it extremely important for them to keep performing at all times, all levels?
It is. Like our group has got 5 or 6 cricketers, and the beauty is because there's so much trust among most of us that if I fail, I feel that some of my teammates take my pain as well, and the only way to take my pain away is for them to perform and win me the game. And once they don't perform, I do the same. So I think because of that, I think there has been times where Zimbabwe cricket has played really good cricket and have achieved some good results over the years as well, and I think it's made due to that.
Well, for the team, I guess, you know, one thing, I'm just going back to T20 leagues, the impact it has had on your own playing style has been phenomenal. Like, you've actually been man of the series a few times since you've started traveling a lot. You found a huge difference in your own performance playing in those leagues?
Look, I think it'll be very unfair to say no. I think it is true. Playing in all these different leagues. Most importantly, I think playing is one thing. I think it's the experience, is the knowledge that you gather from talking to or playing against, or you're playing with, that kind of filters down into your own game, and you try and see where I can add that piece into my own game. And once you have a half a decent brain, I'm pretty sure you can add those pieces into your own game, and that could help you to improve your own game. And that's what I've tried to do. I've gone everywhere and I've asked all these questions and see how best can this answer help me into my game. And if I found the answer, I've tried and fit that piece into my game, and that has helped me a lot.
So going back years, you know, you never thought you would be an international cricketer. So in your mind, when you didn't make that decision?
I took a year off my studies, and I spoke to my father. I said, I'd like to give cricket a year. And I was just having a net session, and there was a gentleman who's our acting MD now, Mr. Givmore Mukoni. He saw me and he just called me. He said, if you can take a 3-hour drive to the province, which is called Mashwingo, you'll play T20 for us. And that was it. So I woke up early. I left 5 o'clock from Harare. I got there at 8. Training started at 9. I started training with Mashwingo. The team was called the Rocks, and that was the break I was looking for. And that's about it, to be honest.
Never look back. So for young players, Canada has a under 19 setup as well. A lot of young players, budding stars that have a lot of talent, and they would love to be national players sometimes now. And I think with the advent of T20 leagues, you could become an international player without being an international player. You could travel. Any suggestions for them? What mind shift they need?
Look, from my side, 2 things that helped me really well was the sacrifices that I made for my cricket, and the discipline that I had to make those sacrifices. If you can sacrifice some of the things for your own cricket, for your own training, I think cricket would always reward you back. And if you can stay disciplined while you're training and while you're doing all these things, it will also help you. So two words that helped me a lot in my career was the sacrifice and the discipline. So my advice to some of the Canadian cricketers would be the same: that make those sacrifices, make the right sacrifices for your cricket, and stay disciplined, and cricket will always reward you.
Did you find cricket, even though Zimbabwe has been a test nation, I know cricketing resources not have been plenty. Unfortunately, Canada, a very well-developed nation, but cricketing-wise, our resources are very limited as well. How did you manage that challenge growing up?
Look, I remember listening to, I cannot remember who it was. I think it may have been Ian Bishop. And he was talking about his days as well, how the resources were very limited. But he said that there's always empty fields. There's always places to train. If you cannot bat, you cannot bowl, at least you can run. You can train. There's always something you can do. And, those small things, stayed with me. And this is what I do. If you have nothing, if no one's bowling to you, try and bowl to a wall. Try and develop your skills. Try and form that habit. There's always something to do. All you have to do is try and find that thing, what you can do to improve your game. Once you find that, make sure you stay at it. And cricket, I'm a huge believer, and I say that again, cricket will always reward you back.
Absolutely. And I think you remind me of Sir Viv Richards, how he used to throw the ball to the wall and play on the return with a stick. That's how he improved his batting skills. So right. So
Exactly.
limited resources. Canada. When I talk about that, it's a big country. It's a massive country. Like if you start driving from the East Coast to the West Coast, it's a 5 days drive. it's a lot of space to cover. And travel becomes very hard within the country. Some of the flights are 5-hour long, and this is why it's so hard to get teams together. Having said that, some of the Canadian players that you played with against, how do you find the talent? Like, how do you find them competition-wise, talent-wise?
Look, I find Canadian team really good. I think the thing that I thought that they lacked was stringing the pieces together. You have your openers, you have your middle order, and you always have your finishers. In my opinion, the team that played in Namibia, though, in those qualifiers, lacked a finisher. I thought Davy Jacobs had a good tournament. I thought Nitish Kumar had a good tournament with a bat as well. I mean, the middle order was hanging, and they were doing a great job. Unfortunately, there were just no finishers to finish the game, and I think this is where you experience. This is where your guys like Hamza Tariq and Rizwan could have played a role. It's up to it's not for me to decide who goes in, who not. But I thought especially Hamza in a way, because he could have used that experience to finish the games. It was nice to see Dalibal having 100 in the last game as well, but these things happen. And from the bowling side, I just thought it was little penetration with the new ball, but I thought the spinners did an exceptional job to pull most of the games back. But, had the Canada string those pieces together, I was praying for Canada to get an ODS status, to be fair, and had another chance to not just see my friends, but to play in Canada, and for the Canadians to come to Zimbabwe as well.
We were so close, yet so far.
Story of Zimbabwe as well, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Scotland, yeah, exactly. So,
exactly.
Having said that, Namibia, have you played there before? Because I don't know, like none of us actually really knew what the pitches were like. What would
Namibia? I've played there before. Yeah, they're difficult batting first wickets. The batting second become a lot better.
Why is that?
Because it's a longer tournament, so I thought that after a few games you could actually afford to bat first, because the wickets will try and slow down, so it will be difficult to chase.
And I think that's what happened. What happened with Canada towards the end when they played US, they were able to put a good score and defend it.
And that's only because the wickets would tend to get slower. In any tournament, they'll get slower and slower.
So, talking about pitches, Zimbabwe, they've always known to be a bit slower, on the slower side.
Harare Sports Club have got pace and bounce. Bloy is basically slightly slow, and for spinners. So we've got Harare, Mutare, Kwekwe, and Bloy. We've got all four wickets are slightly different wicket to one another. So it provides us different challenges every time we play home and away when we're playing the domestic tournament.
How do you find, I believe you played in South African leagues as well. How do you find the pitches there?
South Africa, we found pitches to be pace and bouncy most of the time. There was very little for the spinners, so it was a good experience for me to go and try and polish my skill level on surfaces that offers no turn and things like that, and also how to handle pace and bounce. It was a good experience for me to be part of Mzansi.
So being an off spinner, what do you focus on? Because there's always sharp turn nowadays. It's so much more you can do. What are you focused on? What's your specialty?
There was an advice that was given to me by Harbhajan Singh. He said a good area will remain a good area. And for me that was good enough advice. It doesn't matter am I off spinner or a mystery spinner, a good area will remain a good area. What I rely on is try and stay ahead of the batter, one step ahead of him.
How do you do that, Sikandar?
Experience. You talk, you learn, you ask questions, you play. Cricket
Watch
will
them
teach
play.
you. Time will teach you a lot of things. Cricket will teach you a lot of things.
Have you ever find yourself preparing for a game by watching some videos before the game of players that you want to bowl against or bat against?
Yeah, I do that all the time. I watch their recent footage. I watch their strengths, weaknesses. Where can I bowl? Where can I not bowl? His last few dismissals, things like that. So I keep those things in my head.
Perfect. We're coming close to an end. I know you have to run fairly soon here, but any final words for the viewers?
Like I wish Canada and their cricket very best of luck, and I wish Global T20 Canada very a second year successful as well, and hope to be part of that tournament again. Apart from that, not much. The young cricketers make those sacrifices. Once you made those sacrifices, I guarantee your cricket will reward you.
Absolutely. And I would love to invite you when you're in Canada, I guess, to come out to Manitoba and Saskatchewan. We'd love to take care of you there as well.
Thank you very much, Samami. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Absolutely. Let's stay in touch. Thank you, Sikandar. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.